in this brain, no matter how much we would want to forget some things that we endure or we experience in life, sometimes we wish that we could just wipe it from our minds.
If we had that delete button,
right,
in our brain.
But we don't, because that's just how our brain works. Is they creep into the caverns of our minds, and sometimes they just stay and wait in the trenches. And
you're listening to the Favorite Marriage Podcast with Monty and Jeannine Mora, a place where you and your spouse can experience God's favor on your forever. Enjoy this week's episode of The Favorite Marriage.
Well, happy summer, everyone, and thanks for joining with us today. We are Monty and Jeannine Mora, your hosts of the Favorite Marriage Podcast. We are so passionate about putting tools in the toolbox of marriages, and we are glad you joined us today.
Yeah, we are so glad that you joined us for this episode. We are doing a pretty cool summer series, a mini-series that we've titled Marriage in the Movies. And we've been taking a couple of movies that are popular right now in the summer months, and we've been comparing them and extracting out marriage principles. And the last episode, we talked about Young Washington, and actually, we've had a lot of good feedback regarding that one right there. And so I think this one is going to be equally important, because today we're going to be talking from the perspective of the summer movie that we just watched a few weeks ago called Sheep Detectives.
Right. So our last movie was a little more serious, very historical. I mean, we were in the week of Independence Day, the 4th of July week celebration. This week, we just wanted to be a little more fun.
Yeah.
And I mean, who would have ever thought, right, that we can pull marriage nuggets from CGI created sheep?
Yeah.
And it's the story about solving a mystery, a murder mystery.
Yeah, but you think about marriage is a mystery. You know, Paul talks about that in Ephesians 5. So yeah, if you were to tell us, man, you guys are going to be doing an episode on sheep detectives and talking about that, I would have looked at you and said, nah, you're pulling the wool over my eyes, you know. But here we are. Here we are. We're talking about sheep, and
you're so punny.
That's okay. But Jeannine,
I caught it. I don't know if they.
So the whole idea of CSI trying to CGI trying to solve a murder, sheep, very biblical.
Yes.
The Bible talks about sheep a whole lot.
I thought it was
shepherd. I mean, all that good stuff. And so we're pretty jazzed about this, and because there's some really neat marriage nuggets that we can pull from this movie. And so, by the way, we're not being sponsored by this movie whatsoever.
None of these.
But go out, have a good time with your family. Go watch Sheep Detectives. You can rent it on any of the major networks there, and I think you'll enjoy not only the movie, but you'll be able to compare it to this episode that we're going to be talking about today. So
yeah, and I think hopefully by the end of this episode, they're going to be able to look back and say that was sheer brilliance.
Yes. No, you're jumping on the bandwagon, aren't you?
I'm not as funny as you.
Yeah. That's good. Hey, we are who we are, and that's what makes
we have to have fun.
That's what we do, yeah.
And we hope that through this episode you have fun with us.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, let's kind of dive into the movie. So the movie is a mystery movie, and it's a movie that really talks about ideas of memory, pain, unforgiveness, not remembering certain things, acceptance, community, how people work together, how the sheep work together. And all of these things that I just mentioned are relative to marriage.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Marriage, in every marriage relationship, we understand that there's pain, there needs to be communication, there needs to be forgiveness, there needs to be this idea of anticipating different things, differences, and managing expectations and managing conflict. And so those are some of the important pieces we are going to pull today. And we don't want you to miss these hidden principles that might be, hidden in the meadow of the story, but we really want to pull them out and give some some great opportunities for
Yeah.
a couple to have conversation and to grow.
Yeah. So the first big idea we want to talk about, which was, I think, the most obvious, at least it was obvious to me, is this comparison of two specific sheep. Now, if you haven't watched the movie, we are gonna, go into some details, but don't look at it as a spoiler alert, or a spoiler. Look at it more as just something to try to when you do watch it, just identify it and apply it and just know, like, and make those connections. So there are two sheep by the name of Mopple and Lily. And Mopple, he's cute little sheep that cannot forget. Like, he remembers everything. And matter of fact, the flock, they tend to rely on him when they're needing some information or when they want to remember something. They'll ask him, like, do you remember? And of course he does, because he's the sheep that never forgets. And then there's Lily. Lily, she's kind of like the leader of the sheep. She's the one that pretty much in the movie says, oh, we need to forget this. This is too painful, and leads all the sheep in, oh, like 1, 2, 3, we're going to forget. And it's so funny because, like, in the movie, they forget whatever it was that Lily's leading them to wipe from their memory. So with that being said, we know that in marriage, there are things that we come into, like the challenging things that we want to forget, and then there's those things that we choose to never forget. I think there could be, there's definitely negativity in both of those scenarios.
Can be, yeah.
Can be. But then we all, like, we want to talk about how we can use those memories for the benefit of the marriage. And if you're having those struggles of not forgetting and using those, the bad memories, I guess,
sure,
to attack and actually bring down your marriage, how you can overcome them.
Yeah.
What you can do to, because I mean, this obviously is a movie where they forget and it's wiped from their minds. Like, we are human beings. We know that in real life that cannot happen. Like, we, in this brain, no matter how much we would want to forget some things that we endure or we experience in life, sometimes we wish that we could just wipe it from our minds.
If we had that delete button,
right,
in our brain.
No, we don't, because that's just how our brain works. Is they creep into the caverns of our minds, and sometimes they just stay and wait in the trenches. And when the opportunity arises, we remember them, pull them out, and we can tend to use them as weapons.
Yeah,
we weaponize our memories.
Yeah, many couples, we see both of these personality types being played out in married couples' lives, right? You talked about Mopple and Lily. You have the husband or the wife. Let's just say the husband, because I'm talking. The husband, he has the ability to keep a mental spreadsheet of stuff in the marriage. Could be good, could be bad stuff, right? In this case, could be the bad stuff, right? Yeah. Or then you have the wife who wants to forget everything. She just wants to, like, it's done, it's over with. Yeah. Can we just move on? Why do you keep taking us back to this moment? So it's interesting that we're talking about this very piece right here, because even in a premarital counseling I did just yesterday, this very thing came up in this young couple who's about ready to get married in a couple weeks, and how one wants to forget certain things and the other one wants to rehash, go over, and keep bringing some of that up. And I had asked them, I had asked the gentleman, why do you think we do this? And he said this, because we do it because we want to win the argument. And I'm like, that's, you've just taken words out of our mouth, that how we've talked and we've spoken to couples. I told them, So one spouse will remember, hey, do you remember this happened on November 25th, 1987? And then the other spouse is going to say, what are you even talking about? Right?
Yeah.
And again, it's these two different personality types being played out inside of the marriage. And we can relate to this because we've been there.
Yes,
You
we
know?
have. So let's walk the couples that are listening here and are relating and can say in their minds right now, like, yes, that's me. I do that. I remember, but how do I forget? So it's like you don't necessarily forget, but you don't live in that memory. It'll be there, but you don't dwell in it. Another situation this week, talking to a wife who was dealing with something that years and years ago, like decades ago, was hurtful and was almost detrimental to their marriage. This just certain situation and scenario, and just felt like, wow, like she dealt with it decades ago. It took lots of years for healing, but here they are, married for many, many years, and there was something that triggered.
Yeah.
And she was just like, I don't know what this is. Like, this was way in the past, but something came up, triggered her, and she remembered and began to remember the pain. And here's what you can do with that. You can remember that and begin to spiral. We talk about this all the time. And
it's easy to
spiral
do.
in that memory. If you spiral in the memory, then you're just going to continue to go down, 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 down. And this can really create something in yourself, just emotional pain. You will begin to dig up a lot of what's been buried. And then you can respond and react to your spouse negatively because of your spiraling.
Sure.
And they might not even know what in the world you're going through because they don't know what the trigger was.
Yeah.
But that is so true, and it's reality, especially if you have experienced some kind of traumatic event in your marriage.
Yeah.
And it's very real, and it comes sometimes out of nowhere. Like, even the person just doesn't even realize, like, wow, like that just came from the back door and came to my mind, and I remember it. And again, you could take that memory and allow it to spiral, and you just spiral and you just get sucked in back into the pain, and then let that affect you in your current situation. Or you can take that. And I love this because this wife, she was accountable. She was accountable with how she was feeling. She voiced it. She was accountable to me, asked me to pray for her in this situation. Good. And the accountability part is good for you because you know that someone else, number one, is praying for you. And then someone is also going to follow up on, like, what did you do? How did you handle the situation? Because I know you were going to go into this this certain scenario, and how did you handle it? So there's a very important piece of accountability that takes place when you just reach out and then pray and ask the Lord, like, God, I am human. I remember this. It hurt, but I also know what you've done for us. I refuse to go back.
Yeah.
Like, remember the work it has taken you to get to where you're at. Before, like, don't let that be for nothing.
Sure. Yeah. I think a good gauge of when somebody has reached a point of healing in those memories and those thoughts, because the memories and the thoughts are never going to go away. But here's the difference: when you know you're healed, the emotion of it isn't attached to it anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we remember things. I remember things you've done, or you remember things I've done, but the emotion the raw emotion we felt when that particular situation arose, it was a very strong emotion. Now, when we're on the other side of healing, we think of these things, we have these memories, and our minds are just crazy, amazing how we'll pull stuff from 19 whatever, but how I know I'm healed and how I know you're healed is that emotion, the pain of it, is no longer attached to that memory,
Yeah.
right? And that's a pretty good sign of healing for that spouse.
Yes.
You think about Jeannine, one spouse can be really good at keeping score. And we're going to talk about a scripture here in 1 Corinthians 13. And another spouse is really good at avoiding the conversation. And when you see those two things played out, one wants to remember, one always remember, keeping the record, the black book. The other spouse is avoiding, and so let's move on. What clash does that create inside of that couple's life?
When you want the best craftsmanship available, you can't just call any fencing company.
You go to Integrity Fencing Company.
Because integrity may be part of our name, but that's not all it is. It's a promise of quality and care that we uphold with every job. So what are you waiting for? We're itching to start our next big project, and we can't think of anyone better to partner with than you. Get the luxury experience of relaxing while we take care of the hard stuff. Because our place in the trade goes back over a decade. We are proud to say that each fence we build is better than the last. We have real passion for what we do, from design to execution. And the highest quality, most versatile materials money can buy, like Trex for this build. Anyone with a toolbox can say they offer skilled labor. But we back that claim up with honesty, transparency, artistry, and excellence. It's easy to think of a fence as a simple commodity, but to us, it's a chance to prove our dedication to outstanding service. When you need a new fence, don't just go for anyone, do it right with Integrity Fencing Company.
Well, I know the avoidance piece, like the person who wants to avoid, I think the other spouse tends to feel like you don't value my feelings and wanting to talk about it and get this, solved or out on the table, and let's deal with some of these things that we haven't dealt with.
Yeah.
And so when they want to avoid, that spouse just feels like they're not valued. Their feelings, their emotions, they're just being pushed aside. I think that's one thing. And then I think the other thing is just the whole avoidance piece is really not wanting to deal with the hard. We always talk about choose your hard. And sometimes it's not easy to choose your hard, but sometimes you have to choose what's hard. Like, choose it now. Like, either choose to sit and talk through those things instead of avoiding. Sit and talk through them. It's going to take time. It's going to probably, bring tears. It may take days of restoration of relationship. Days could even be weeks. But if you're choosing your hard at that moment, then you're not having to deal with the hard for years to come. You know what I mean? Like, you just keep pushing it away and avoiding it. I mean, that is so much more worth. And we share this with couples. Like, it's so much more worth to choose your hard in that moment, in prayer. And even if you need, with guidance from another couple, a pastor, friends that are not going to be biased, sit across the table from them and help you with your hard. Dealing with it for that one time and working through all of those pieces is so much more worth than going years, decades we've seen with that just hanging in one spouse's mind, just dangling like, I wonder, XYZ, if whatever happened, or there's so many unknowns that are dealt with that breed in a person's heart and mind, and those unknowns are like the devil's playground. You know what I mean? He comes in, and because there's a separation, like our job is to stay one flesh. We are created to be one flesh according to the Word of God, and when we are avoiding things, we're keeping things. That's that separation piece that the enemy just comes in and he will drive a wedge.
Yeah.
And if you even just give him, like I've seen you like with your tools where you put, like a axe or something, and then with the hammer and you split something and you just tap, 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 tap. and then eventually it's split. I mean, that is the plan of the enemy. So avoiding can land up being that. So choose your heart. Yeah. And we encourage you to, go through it initially, immediately, as soon as you can, versus letting it just boil and stir in your marriage and always be in the closet, those skeletons in the closet.
That's good, man. Just to recap those two important things is resentment. Keeping score creates resentment. Avoiding creates distance. And you don't want to do either. Healthy couples, and that's what we're wanting. We want healthy couples. We want healthy marriages. They just don't learn to live with the pain. They learn how to walk together through the pain.
Through the pain.
But some couples will choose just to live with the pain, but they never walk together trying to deal with it and resolving those things. Going to go back to the idea in 1 Corinthians 13. We're going to address that. Is in 1 Corinthians 13 it says, verse 5, love keeps no record of wrong. Love keeps no record of wrong. And there's something beautiful when a husband and wife can get to the point where they can burn the black book and they can, shred up the list of wrongs that done to them. Now, not keeping a record of wrong doesn't mean that we ignore the issues.
Right.
It means that together we work together as a couple through those very tough, hard times. Again, you mentioned choose your hard. That's choosing the hard.
Right. Because we're not saying that the goal is to either forget everything or remember everything. Because that's, like we already talked about, like that's not going to happen in our human mind. It's working through and learning not to live in that memory and let it rule and or just dominate your life or your marriage. So I mean, it could be just an individual battle. Because we've seen that too, where just an individual, either the husband or the wife, they just own it to themselves and they're not going to talk about it. It's just something that they deal with. But that's not what marriage is all about. It's just to keep it all in your own heart. Yeah. It's the purpose of marriage is to walk through things together. And even if it was your husband or your wife that hurt you deeply. I mean, if you have chosen forever, if you have chosen till death do us part, then you're going to need to walk through that and learn how to protect your healing. And I think that was key with the wife I was telling you about is like her fight for her marriage, that was what was so important, for years, for legacy and just the testimony that she has lived. It's too precious to let just a moment or a trigger to come in. I think sometimes as a husband and wife, we also just need to find those people that we can trust and be able to have that accountability. I wanted to come back to that point.
Community.
Because sometimes we've already, for example, like just being transparent, like we've worked through some very difficult things. And we use that, our testimony to help other couples, right? But then there's times where like you might struggle with something and I might struggle with something, and I don't really need to always bring everything to you, like, oh, this is kind of bothering me. And if it's something that I can just go to that very trusted friend or relative and say, hey, I'm kind of struggling with this, they'll be wise enough to let you know, like, yeah, have you talked to Monty about it? Or have you talked to Jeannine about it? Like there's those people that we've been able to do that with. And we've been able just to like, no, it's just something personal. I need to just kind of walk through. There are those moments. So we don't want to say like every single time that you're having to run to your spouse, because then I think it can make it create an insecurity sometimes if it's happening a lot.
Yeah.
Would you say that?
Yeah. It can, but there's also something to say about full transparency as well.
Sure.
You hit it on the nose. You have your community of people that you can go to, and if that person is wise and has your best interest in mind, they're going to be able to sniff out and say, "Hey, this is something I think you need to talk to, Monty or Jeannine about, because this is kind of a little bit bigger than just something personal." Then of course you go and do that, but to have the wisdom to do that is important. But yeah, you're right. You don't always want to be flooding your spouse with all this stuff that can overwhelm the marriage as well. But.
I love the part in the story with Lily when she is imagining her shepherd, which is Hugh Jackson, right? That's
Jackman. Yeah.
Hugh Jackman. Sorry, I'm not good with
mixing
actors.
The Michael Jackson movie with Hugh Jackman. Yes.
Jackman. Wolverine, that guy.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's the shepherd, and he's already dead, and she's having this moment, and she wants to do the whole 1, 2, 3, forget, and he stops her, and he says, "If you forget, you won't be able to help your community or your flock," and that really hit home for me. Like I was just like, oh, it's one of those moments where just remembering our past, like. And thinking, Lord, as soon as we get through this, I'm just going to, we're never going to talk about it ever again. I just want to forget about it and we're just going to move on. And the Lord was like, oh no, because there's purpose in your pain. Like, I don't let things happen for nothing. Like, I've allowed you to go through this and you've allowed me to come in and heal. Like, together, we're going to, be instruments of healing, just with our story. Like, we're not doing the healing. The Lord's doing the healing, but
we have to cooperate.
We have to cooperate, and we have to agree to give hope to couples who are in similar situations like ours. Like, that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And so if we ever did that, then, we couldn't help our flock. So
that's right. Yeah.
I loved that part. So if you're out there and you're feeling like this horrible, horrible situation in your marriage, like you're not going to get through it. Or if you do get through it, you're just going to forget about it. Think about this. Like the Lord, he walks us through our valleys, and he walks us through our valleys for a reason. He's with us in our valley. He brings us back out when we're on the mountaintop so we can shout from the mountaintop on how wonderful our shepherd is and how he has healed us and walked us through. And the same way that he's done for you, he's done it for us. So we know he can do it for you. Then again, you are going to be used to share your story and give hope to another couple.
Yeah. Good advice. Great advice. There's another piece in this story that I know we're kind of pressed for time, but I don't want to neglect it. I think it's very, very important. And it's if you want to put a little title to it, it would be called "Embracing the Unexpected" and welcoming the winter lamb. The winter lamb. It's this lesson here. Embracing the unexpected. It revolves around what they call the winter lamb in the movie, and the flock. If you watch the movie, the flock actually rejects the winter lamb because of like an old superstition. And the superstition is if a lamb was born off schedule, like in the winter, where lamb season is more traditionally in the spring, then that winter lamb would be viewed as like a bad omen or a bad vibe. It was not good for a lamb to be born in the winter. And so I know these are so corny. But
I love you.
the flock assumes that he's the problem.
Yeah.
The winter lamb is the problem before they even ever get to know him.
Yeah.
Because it was unexpected.
And right, the unexpected. And I did do a little research on the winter lamb. I mean, this is obviously a fictional thing that was used for the movie. Like a true winter lamb is just a lamb that's born in winter, not in
Yeah.
spring. But yes, like in this movie, there's that unexpected little lamb that gets to be an outcast and nobody wants to deal with him because
Yeah.
he's different. And so in marriage, we have those unexpected lambs
Really?
in our marriage. And they could look like a whole lot of different things, unexpected pregnancies, unexpected illness, unexpected layoff, unexpected
Bills.
bills. I mean, you name it. There's always
Yeah.
something that's unexpected around the corner. And that is from day one of saying I do. Even in your wedding, there's things that happen unexpectedly, like some of the funny things that we look back and laugh at now from the day of your wedding,
Yeah.
unexpected, till the day we go home to be with Jesus. There's always going to be
Yeah.
those unexpected curveballs.
I wonder if we can frame those unexpected seasons in life as to like the winter season of marriage. Like we have the 4 seasons of life, 4 seasons of marriage, and every marriage is going to have that winter season where it's going to be cold and dark and tough and very, very difficult because of something unexpected that just came about. One of the things that we've personally have experienced, and we're pretty transparent here on our episode, is there have been times where unexpected illnesses have come our way, and as we're getting more advanced in years in life, our body's just not responding the way it used to respond. We I think in one episode we talked about when we were getting ready to go to a wedding up in Denver, and in the New York second, I ended up having this severe pain in my back and ended up in the emergency room, and I had a kidney stone.
It was scary because this guy, he won't go to the doctor or ER if he does not have to. And when he told me, I think I need to go to the ER, I was like, okay.
Yeah. And for you all who ever had a kidney stone, boy, the pain. And they said it's kind of equated to having a baby. I think so, but
sure.
yeah.
Okay.
But you think about things like that, and then even just like in this last year, you've had some knee challenges, some knee problems, and we'll be talking more about that. But that was so unexpected. Like it just came in a matter of just a couple days, and it's perpetuated. But those are the winter lambs of our life. Those unexpected moments that we have to together, navigate together and holding hand in hand.
Learning to shift, learning to pivot. We talked about, I think we had a 2-part series. Was it 2-part series? Oh, when I'm Samsung and your iPhone, or what was it?
Yeah. You're Samsung. He's iPhone, she's Samsung.
Yeah.
And it was on handling differences.
Right. So I think episode 59, 60, something around there. So that was, go, if you want more in depth, go and listen to those 2 episodes. But learning how to pivot is so important when you have those unexpected situations. But in the movie, I love how there was a transition of perspective. And it took one person, or one sheep, should I say, to really open their eyes to this little winter lamb who had some very valuable information. So sometimes in those unexpected moments, there's valuable information, there's valuable nuggets to pull from. Stop in that situation and ask yourselves, what can we learn from this? This is hard right now. This is stupid crazy, whatever that might look like right now in your marriage, or even in just your family, and you're dealing with something and you're thinking, what can I possibly learn from this right now? This is just so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, that is when you're going to press in and pray and praise through the pain, we say. Pray through the pain. Together, read through the pain, God's word, and bring God's word into the pain, weave it in it. Because if you're not weaving all of that in the circumstance and the pain, then after you leave, after you're through it, then it was that was pointless. But we serve a God who takes everything seriously in our life. Every moment, every breath, every season in our life, like he values it. It's not just playing this chess game with our lives. He loves us. And so if we're going through something, really press in and ask the Lord, like, what can we learn from this? And husbands, I would say, and I would challenge you to be the leader of your home, to say, we're going to do this. We are not going to just bear down and get through this. Like that unexpected dog barking in the background.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's unexpected. So what do? We just keep going with the flow.
I wasn't going to say anything about the barking of our dog, but you're right. It was
It's just
on
on
cue.
cue.
Yeah.
But anyway, we love her. But there's always something to learn.
Yeah.
And I loved how in the movie they brought him in. He's a cute little lamb. I mean, he's pretty messed up, guys.
Poor little
He
guy.
looks like an outcast. But in the end, they embrace him
Yeah.
because they changed their perspective about what he had to offer.
And what's funny is they realized they needed him all the time.
Mm.
You know, he's exactly what they needed. And when you compare that to marriage, those unexpected things in our life that happen,
Yeah.
it could be God's provision for us, but sometimes we don't see it. But it could be God saying, hey, I'm in this. I'm allowing this. I've allowed this unexpected moment to happen because this is exactly what you need, just like they needed the little winter lamb for that.
Yeah.
You know?
That's
and so
good.
cute little guy. Yeah. So what if like your spouse's cautiousness is actually helping a family member or helping your marriage avoid something that could be very dangerous? And maybe you might perceive your spouse's cautiousness as like just too cautious, always cautious, always cautious. But it could be God's gift for your marriage by when one of the spouses having that sense of being discernful, wise, and cautious with that situation. You know.
Yeah, frugalness is another one.
Yeah.
Like just being cautious, frugal in finances. I mean, I see what you're saying. Like some of the things that we view in our spouse, we see as the winter lamb and just want to reject it when we need to embrace it.
Yeah.
I see.
And remember that we talked about this in the last episode, that marriage is not about being happy. God creates marriage to make us holy. And part of us becoming holy and part of us becoming right with God and God transforming us and shaping us and purifying us, it's through the marriage relationship. It's through those difficult, unexpected situations, those winter lamb moments.
So good.
Yeah.
I think that's a wrap.
Any concluding thoughts? So maybe a couple questions couples can ask this week
Yeah.
is, am I acting like Mopple or Lily? Who are you acting like?
Mopple, who doesn't forget anything.
Yeah.
And is always ready to dish out the past.
Yeah.
Or Lily, who just wants to forget everything, doesn't want to deal with it. And how can you come together as a couple and work through those two different types of personalities? There might be two Mopples in a marriage. There might be two Lilies in a marriage, or there might be a Mopple and a Lily.
Yeah.
Figure out which one you're at, which one you are.
Yeah.
And just ask God for wisdom, like how to work through those memories.
And I think
those
the
memories.
second equally important question to ask yourself this week with you and your spouse is there something about my spouse I've been resisting that God may actually be using for our good? Like is
Like a
God
winter lamb.
Yeah, how is God using that winter lamb moment inside of our own marriage? And so there you go. We just broke down a movie called The Sheep Detectives, and we brought some marriage principles to that. I believe in this episode we were able to separate the sheep and the goats regarding what happens inside of a marriage relationship. There it is again.
Trying too hard.
Yeah, I'm a try hard. Yeah,
Just kidding.
boy, I'm telling you, Mike. Yeah, never mind. Remember, let's remember this. Here, eat some popcorn while I talk about some final stuff. So,
Sorry.
remember this. As we're reminding couples, there are no two married couples that are exactly the same. Each marriage is different, uniquely different when it comes to their relationship with God, with their relationship with each other. I think today that we added a few more tools into the marriage toolbox for couples to keep in there and help grow and build their marriage relationship. How's that popcorn?
It's not bad.
Yeah. Is it as good as movie popcorn? As
I like to have fun.
Yeah, we love to have fun. Hey, we thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Favorite Marriage Podcast. And as always, we pray that you would experience God's favor
On your forever.